Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Football Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me is co-host Maceo Dill. Earlier this evening, Maceo, this took place.
Capitaine! El Capitaine!
Yes, the PHC Zebras were crowned the Premier Division champions following their 9-0 win over the Boulevard Blazers at the PHC Stadium. Other matches that took place today in the Premier Division, it was St. George's Colts 1, North Village Rams 3, Devonshire Cougars 4, Robin Hood 1, Somerset Trojans 1, Crossroads 3, Dandytown Hornets 1, Hamilton Parish 1. And that concluded the Premier Division schedule for the 2022-2023 season. In the standings, PHC finished on 45 points. Devonshire Cougars finished second on 42. St. George's Colts finished third on goal difference over North Village. Both have 37 points. Hamilton Parish finished fifth with 25 points. The Dandytown Hornets finished sixth with 23 points. Crossroads, seventh with 20 points. Somerset Trojans, eighth with 17 points. The Boulevard Blazers, ninth with 12 points. And Robin Hood finished the season 10th on 1 point. Maceo, today, there was a lot of doubt whether or not the Boulevard Blazers would show. There was a lot of talk that they wasn't going to show. However, I was pleasantly surprised to see them field a team today, and I have to kind of give them some credit for continuing to play despite being outplayed. I mean, they did create a few chances early in the match, but clearly today was going to be PHC's day when they scored as early as the third minute, I believe it was.
Third minute. Yeah. Boulevard. I mean, I don't even like having to talk about a team not showing up at this level, but that is our reality. That is our reality in football, And they was never gonna trouble PHC. PHC's been a determined force. They was never gonna. I watched the warm ups of Boulevard versus the warm up of PHC and what it looked like. The gap between those two teams are vast. It's a big gap between those two teams that have happened over the years, and to think the type of club and the type of players Boulevard once had, and PHC is we know their history. They're the club for me that's operating from top to bottom in the best sort of way right now, from their youth ranks right up to the senior ranks, and actually what they're doing off the field, scholarship wise for the players, and how they're investing back into that community. So they're cooking with all cylinders. And I think it's fitting that a Marco Warren, if you look at it not just from today, if you look at his journey from PHC having a large part in assisting Marco Warren to go overseas to university when he was 14, 15, 16, and for him to come back and invest the time and lift a trophy for PHC, it's a bigger journey that they've been on than what we see today. And what they got behind them, they got pretty much a young team behind them that, the challenge now, we always speak of it, what do they do in the second season now that they got everything? And, and what how do they go from strength to strength? How can they sort of impact and revolutionize football? So I say that to say, when we look at a Chicago Bulls, or Lakers, they revolutionized the NBA. They revolutionized the league, and what they did, they set certain standards that people had to jump up to. So PHC is in that position, in the trajectory, in the direction that they're going on. Can they set certain standards for football, or what happens? Does the same thing happen next year? What's happened to every other club when they get what they want for us winning? Does that amateur piece come in? So, but kudos to them. I think it's only time for them right now to talk about the celebration, the good work that they've done all season to be in this position. I think that's the only thing that matters at this moment of time, and they should enjoy that. But I do, being Maceo, being who I am, it's a triple crown now.
Their season's not done.
Yeah, it's a triple crown now. What are they going to do? What is that going to? They got 2 weeks to prepare for that. I don't like that gap of 2 weeks to prepare for that, but they got 2 weeks to contemplate that, and what is that going to look like?
Well, I mean, I guess one of the downers of today was that yellow card that Marco got, and it's believed that he picked up his third, which will rule him out. If it is in fact his third, it will rule him out of the FA Cup final.
Oh no, that's a sin. That's a sin. That's a sin. That's a sin to football. That's a sin.
He got the yellow card in the 82nd minute on a challenge to the goalkeeper. And it's believed that was his third. So he will. And the thing was, they took off at halftime. They took off Naeem, who was on Naeem and Dion Lodge. They took them both off because they were both on 2 yellow cards.
So they wouldn't have thought they wouldn't have thought they had to protect Marco from the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but there was talk that was his third one. And when he got it, there was a long discussion he had with the referee. I don't know, trying to plead his case or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I watched the game from the skybox today. You have to get an invite to go up in the tracks and watch the game. Yeah, but I didn't realize that's what the discussion was about. But if Marco Warren's not able to play, that's a sin to football. And I mean it's the rules. The rules have been in place, and I'm not. But I mean, if I look at again, this is where we have to evolve our thought processes about how to promote our game, because you see in other leagues that there is a distinction between the league, the FA, and those different competition. There is a distinction between it when it comes to discipline. When it comes to discipline of for us cards, and that is because they always want to create the best opportunity for the best players to be on the field at the appropriate times. I mean, I remember as a funny joke. I remember Pele. I don't know if you remember this. Pele actually getting a red card, one of the only red cards he's had in his life, and they substitute the ref and brought Pele back out. They took the ref off. And I don't know how they did it, but they took the ref off and they brought Pele back out.
Because people came to see Pele play. They didn't come to see the referee.
But that's I say that because that's what people come to see. They come to see the best players play. That's what the game is about. The game is about the best players playing. That's what it's about. And I get we gotta keep them disciplined. I get all those things, but the game is still about the players. And if Marco Warren cannot play in the finals of the FA where PHC is looking to win the Triple Crown, it's a sin to the game. If I'm North Village, I'm happy about it. Right. I am happy about it, from the perspective of North Village. But if I'm speaking on the game, it's a sin to the game. It's a sin that Marco Warren, for what he represents in the game, can't play.
Well, one thing's for sure, we'll know in the coming days whether or not Marco Warren will have to miss the FA Cup final, or he'll be eligible to play the FA Cup final. That's for sure. Everybody will be. I'm pretty sure PHC already know whether I'm right or wrong. But we'll just wait and keep our ear low to the ground to figure out what happens come the day of the FA Cup final.
So let's watch this. Let's watch this space.
Do you appeal it? Because if you appeal it, can you play while you appeal it?
Yeah. Let's watch this space. This is where sports lawyers are needed, right? Sports lawyers are definitely needed in these types of situations. And this is where arbitration might. But if I'm just speaking of the game, is a sin if he's not able to play in this FA Cup final and arguably the biggest game of his career.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the referees were aware of that, and the issue, like to issue a yellow card that late in the game that has this amount of significance. I think it's got to be a bit of discretion in this, man.
Yes, however, an infringement that warrants a card should be given, whether it's the first minute or the last.
I agree. I make no secrets that I'm biased towards the players. I make no secrets about my biasness towards players over referees, over coaches, over administrators. I am biased towards a player. Yeah. For me, the player is the most important resource of the game. So I actually, quietly accept that referee got substituted and Pele came back on the field. I quietly accept that.
Right. Well, interestingly enough, the referee was a female from the United States.
I know.
She don't care who Marco Warren was or anybody else on the field. Yeah. She actually booked Gisarde Samuels in the 38th minute. Yeah. And to be honest, I think 2 minutes later, he was lucky to still be on the field.
Yeah. No, I understand the circumstances. I mean, I'm actually one that has applauded the BFA for bringing in the foreign officials because it equalizes the game. It equalizes the game, and we had some very good games with foreign officials. And I actually would like to see our officials go ref in other leagues as well, so that they get diversity as well. So while people's learning off of us, I also want to see us learn off of the rest of the world.
I know over the summer there's some assignments coming up for our officials in the U.S. As they kick off their leagues mostly in the summertime.
Awesome.
Anyway, so,
awesome.
Yeah. So there's some opportunities for our people to officiate in the U.S. with the partnership and the agreements that we have. So credit to the BRA, credit to the chairman of referees who has partnered with not only the U.S. but also the Caribbean.
I think the sharing of resources is a wonderful way forward. I also think we have to figure out the player piece of this sharing of resources get there. But back to DeMarco on PAC coaching staff. I mean, I've given him a lot of kudos over the whole season about putting this puzzle together. They have to also showed us some responsibility of leaving Marco on the field past halftime. I mean, the game's in the bed, right? And if he's sitting on 2 yellow cards, why do you leave him on the field?
No.
Yeah.
I could only imagine. I could only imagine that conversation was had, and as a player like Marco, he wants to play every minute of every game.
Every minute, every game. This is where you might have to override him, right? You might have to now,
because I mean, even people up in where you were in the skybox were shouting at the coaching staff and even encouraging Marco to walk off the field, even because I think they had by that time used their 5 subs. And they were encouraging him to just leave the field, just walk off the field. But that would include a yellow card too. So
it's interesting the energy that you sort of aware of something and you bring it, you actually talk it in existence, isn't it?
Yeah.
You actually talking in existence. I'm at some interesting dynamics with yellow cards in the same situation. Like I can speak of a semifinal match, FA semifinal match against Police when me and Streak were the coach at North Village, and we decided that we wasn't going to play Kevin Jennings. That were on 2 yellow cards. And Kevin had some very, very, very choice words for us.
Sure.
Anybody that knows Kevin Jennings, he had some very, very choice words for us because we decided not to play him, because he was sitting on 2 yellow cards. And we just had to take that road, and clearly it worked out where he was able to play in the finals. I suspected that we were going to be able to beat Police Club. That was the Lord, in the lower division at that time, the first division. But I'm had those conversations, and that's again all part of managing the season. That's all part of managing the season. It's all part of it to manage and make a decision. That's all part of coaching.
Yes, it is.
That's all part of coaching, man.
Yeah.
And, you might have had to upset Marco at halftime and take him off.
Right. Well, let's hope that card that was shown in the 82nd minute was his second and not his third. Because if it's his third, like you said, North Village will feel a lot better going into that final. But what we're going to do, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk about the other matches that took place in the Premier Division that ended the season today. We'll be right back.
Putting down the weapons.
You seen this?
John Barrett & Son is bringing us something fresh and exciting for the new year. Bai Antioxidant Infusion Beverage. Bai delivers the natural antioxidant benefits of the coffee fruit in glorious combination with a variety of exotic fruit flavors, with only 1 gram of sugar and 10 calories per bottle. The folks at Bai are inviting us on a world tour through these amazing flavors. Brasilia blueberry, Zambia Bing cherry, Costa Rica clementine, Malawi mango, Panama peach, Ipanema pomegranate, Kupang strawberry kiwi, and more. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Welcome back. Well, Maceo, Devonshire Cougars went into their match against Robin Hood with 2 things on their mind. Number 1, taking care of their business. And number 2, just hoping, Boulevard could pull off a win against PHC to allow them to win the league. They done what they needed to do. However, that second favor didn't come. But the win for Devonshire Cougars 4-1 over Robin Hood came at a cost for Bermuda. Early in the first half, John Simmons went off the field, has either pulled his groin or some form of injury that will prevent him from representing Bermuda next week. But the fact that Cougars sealed up second place in a season where you didn't give them much credit for the way they were playing, were you?
Not at all. I can see there was a step off it. I mean, and even as their talisman player in Simmons, he struggled with injury, and it's hard to get back from injury at this stage in your life, especially pools, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've been an age inside. That's what they have been, and you could see they were 2-3 seconds behind. They was, there's 2 inches behind being worthy of being champions.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have what PhD have in that youth that's coming through. So you have a Marco Warren at PhD that's reaching the height of his potential. Then he has young kids behind him that are also on the up of their trajectory in their development. And to be honest, Cougars is just on the downside of it. They're on the downside of it, whereas they've been heavily reliant on D'Amico Coddington, who has obvious quality, but he's 2 and 3 steps behind. And then the kid that's been scoring all the goals, Daryl, Elijah Darrow, while he's been scoring all the goals, he misses a lot of goals as well. He misses a lot of goals, and he gets over with fitness, but he's a kid that started football late, didn't start football to 19 years old. So there's some things that he still has to learn within the game. So I just didn't see him having that whole puzzle piece, and that to really, really challenge for the league. And the fact that they finished second, that's only down to their experience. That's down to the level of experience that they have to win games at certain times, that they was able to keep themselves in contention. But they never looked like they was going to win to me.
Right. What would Kwame have to do in the offseason to strengthen that team with some young people?
What would be interesting to understand, does Shekai Zul now come of age to be a mainstay leader in there? The boy Brimmer, the boy Darrow, does D'Amico Coddington now play 30 minutes a game, coming on to stabilize and win games? Does he shift that dynamics? Does he make Zari get in top shape? Zari's a natural leader in that team, but he struggles for his level of fitness, because Zari for me is also an international quality player, but he's not physically capable of international football now. Do you push him to get in better shape? Those are the things that he needs to do. I don't see him based on what they got, unless there are players that can come from Robinwood that are younger, or players that the younger players out there that can come in and give them that energy, because the older players just don't have it. They have responsibilities in their life. They have all those things. I know what happens to an older player when you won everything like they have. You start to say, well, do I actually need that tackle?
Right.
Do I actually need that? I know I'm going to get that little kick in that tackle. Do I actually need that? And most times you say, you know what? I don't actually need that. And you start to pick your runs. I know I'm supposed to make 5-10 runs, but you know what? I'm going to make 2 that make sense. And that'll be helpful.
All right. I'm going to ask this question because I know the president's watching. Your phone rings, Maceo, in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, and it's Robin Hood. They're looking for a coach. What do you do?
My phone rings, Enrique. I keep saying the only job that I'm prepared to take on right now is a job at the national level. I don't see where I can help a club like Robin Hood. I don't see where my value is needed at that club. And let me make it clear to the public who I am. I grew up at North Village, and the only club that I coached outside of football outside of North Village. It wasn't one of our other local clubs. It wasn't a PHC. It wasn't a Dandyton. And very rest assured, I've been asked. I've been asked about a St. George's. I've been asked about a Dandyton. You know, I haven't been asked about a PHC because they won't ask me that. They won't ask me that. Just out of principle, they won't ask me that.
So if your phone rings in 3 weeks' time, I just want to be 100% clear. If your phone rings in 3 weeks' time and you are offered the job at Robin Hood, you turn it down?
I turn it down. Yeah, I do turn that down. I've been asked by Rangers. You know, I turn those jobs down. The only job that I'm not turning down is the job to represent my country. I turned down North Village job right now too. I've been asked. I hate, you know, it's been asked at North Village as well. Yeah. So the only job that interests me where I am in my life, where I am in my career, is working at my national level. You know, and you know, that's just where I am. Everything in domestic football, won and I'm achieved in domestic football with North Village. That's my legacy.
Some will say that's some years ago and need what they call it, a refresher.
No, I agree. I agree with what, but when I say to people like that, well, I'm like Cantona. I'm doing what you call a Cantona. My stock going up. My stock goes up more and more. Then I say no. I'm like Cantona when it comes to that. Cantona was 30 years old.
All right, so it was a battle for third place. Obviously, St. George's were in the driver's seat. They were 3 points ahead of North Village, but with a far superior goal difference. And North Village came away with a 3-1 win at Wellington Oval, avenging that 4-0 loss that St. George's inflicted on them at Bernard Park in the first half of the season. But St. George's still finished third. North Village finished fourth. St. George's finishing third in this league means what?
If I'm being fair to the journey of football, that means a lot. If I'm being fair and understanding that to be a dominant force, to build a legacy, this is what it looks like. It looks like St. George is threatening to do everything in the league and finishing third, and it wouldn't be that bad. That, you know, looking at it from that perspective, this is what it looks like. It does look like that. If they continue on, if they show hunger next year to keep pushing on from where they are, this is a good space for them. This is a good learning curve for them. But on the flip side of that conversation, actually, I got to be disappointed that I didn't come away with nothing. I got to be disappointed that I've had the opportunity, I've had the players, and I didn't come away with nothing. Does the stars align like that again? You know, the stars align every 100 years. You know, sometimes the stars are only really aligning every 100 years. You know,
they have some work to do in the off season. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, does the stars align, and what do they need in the off season? I hope it's not losing players. You know, I hope the whispers doesn't happen and they lose players and players are dissatisfied with it. You know, if they can gain players, and I actually think, to be fair, if Jawande Bascom would have stayed fit, I mean, he only lasted like 2 games, 2 or 3 games. If he would have been able to stay on the field and stay fit, it could have been a very different dynamic, because they needed somebody that's done it and has done it. But Jawande Bascom is no different from what Cougars is, right? You know, he's done it at Cougars a few times. He's no different from the aging players that are at Cougars, right?
Right, that's true.
He's got 2 Jawande's got 2 kids now, and his focus in life is a bit different, right?
Right. Yep. What about North Village? I mean, they still, their season will continue because they have that FA Cup final. They made it to the Friendship final. Unfortunately, came away with a 1-0 loss. They lost games at crucial times that pushed them down the table, because remember, they were leading for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, I know the North Village players are highly disappointed. North Village is disjointed right now as to where the players are, where the coach is, where the club is. There is not a happy union going down there between. I I'm always got my ear close to the ground. I understand the whispers in it. In professional terms, there will be language that Ken is now lost to dressing room. That can all be fixed if it's the FA.
Mm.
If he wins the FA and he puts the puzzle together properly, winning can fix that.
Winning the trophy to fix that right
Yeah,
away.
winning the trophy could change all that. It can change all that, and it can spearhead them into next season. So North Village needs to win this trophy. They need to win the FA trophy. Otherwise, they can find themselves that they maybe have an exodus of players. They may have more players that leave the club because they're not satisfied with what's happening other coaches, and there is a distance between the coaches and the expectation of the players too. This is not just on coaches, this is also on players. I'm hearing the training sessions are not being well attended, you know and in the FA, they have to be conversations. North Village has got 5 overseas players. There has to be conversations that are they going to bring these overseas players back? Are they going to bring the overseas players back to participate in this FA? And is North Village coaching staff going to put that puzzle together correctly to stop PHC on this march? But winning the FA is the important thing for North Village for next season.
Right.
Winning the FA is the very important thing, because if you know how it goes. I mean, we're looking at Conte. Conte is one of the world, or Mourinho, one of the world's best coaches. You don't win, like, hold on. You know how the fans are. The finicky people. The very finicky people. The fans are very, very finicky people, and they don't care. They don't care what they did last week or last year. They care.
Well, let me just say, the winner of the FA Cup will hold the record of most title wins in Bermuda football.
Right. So North Village and PAC are both on 11, are they?
No, not just 11. 46 trophies overall between the two. Both of them have won 46 trophies.
Okay. So it's very, very significant bragging rights going on there. It's very historical.
Yeah.
It's very
group level today by winning the league.
Right.
They won their 46th Bermuda Football Association trophy today. Yeah. North Village were on 46.
Yeah,
so the winner of that match will win the 47th title. That includes the Martinmere, Dudley Eve, Friendship League, and FA.
I'm always been up to speed, because at my time at North Village, it was similar to Alex Ferguson's time at United, wanting to dethrone the PHC in Somerset, because North Village was always the little boy club.
Right.
It was always those bigger clubs that got clubhouses, that got all those things, and that got more trophies than us. We want more than them. And after 26-year hiatus of no league title from 78, until Scott Morton took over, in the last 20 years, North Village has been the most winningest club, in that last 20 years. And Danny Town won a piece of it, but I always have the conversation, Danny Town, you're not a big boy club yet, because you're not one to triple crown. You're not a big club yet. You had some good teams, you had youth explosions and all that type of stuff, but you're not one to triple crown, so you don't have a seat at the table yet. You don't have a seat at the table. Clubs like North Village and PHC, they have a seat at the table. Even Social Club have a seat at the table. Somerset have a seat at the table. But Dennytown don't have a seat at the table.
Okay, then. All right, we're going to take our second commercial break. We can get to the other matches in the Premier Division that ended the season today. We'll be right back.
I'm also thankful and grateful, because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Just putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Here's one of our favorite feature brands, true veterans of the food awareness movement. Bob's Red Mill, the U.S. leading miller of organic whole grain foods. Only whole grains have the entire value developed during growth. And once you try them, you know that this is the way food was intended to be. Try Bob's Red Mill blanched almond, whole wheat pastry, and artisan bread flours, and 1-to-1 gluten-free baking flour, unsweetened shredded coconut, gluten-free homemade wonderful bread mix, and a variety of rolled oats. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, Maceo, Dandy Town Hornets and Hamilton Parish, they go into today's match chasing each other. Well, Dandy Town was chasing Hamilton Parish, needing a win to overtake them. But they played to a 1-1 draw. You think the Dandy Town Hornets, who were the defending champions, finishing with 23 points, are they glad the season's over?
Yeah, they are. They are glad the season is over. I don't know that they go from strength to strength next season. I don't know that they rebound closely. Like, I've had some on-the-ground conversations with the people that are in the know at Dandy Town. They potentially think that with the aging out of their captain, I mean, Sequoia scored today, the aging out of people like Sequoia, that they have a bit of journey to go to get back to that level. So they have a bit of a rebuilding to get back to that level. Obviously, the combination of Aaron as well as Jay is missed this season. Jay not being around is showing up. With the ability, Jay, let's be honest, Jay has the ability to balance the players, balance the aggression of the players. Aaron, I know him, he's a nice guy that's trying to make everybody happy. Yeah, coaching, you don't make everybody happy. Unfortunately, at coaching, you don't make everybody happy. Somebody's going to be upset. It's not about making people happy. Like, even if you look at the ability to play Sequoia and Beach at the same time, I don't think they should be playing at the same time. They should be competing for one position. Those two should be competing for one position and pushing them. You need one of those senior players at one time to try to accommodate them both in a team. I don't see that puzzle work like that. Yeah.
I'm laughing because I'm gonna throw in something. If Paget are successful going up, does Antoine convince Sequoia to come and play one season with Paget?
Possibly. Antoine has that influence. Antoine's gonna possibly, and I mean, Sequoia, I think his legacy was made at PHC. And I think Sequoia also wanted to prove a point to PHC his value when he went to Dannytown.
Mm.
You know, I don't know how he got out of PHC based on who his father is. I don't know how that worked. I don't know how that worked. That had to be some serious conversation going on there with Cecil Robinson being his father, right? Mr. PHC himself, right?
Yeah.
But I think the relationship with what was happening with Sequoia at PHC, and he had a bit of motivation to go somewhere and say, well, okay, PHC, this is what you're missing. But I think that's done now. I think it's done now, and I think he has a new focus in learning to be a coach now. I don't think he can continue to do both. Again, is age appropriate stuff, right? He's won everything.
Right.
He's won everything, and I don't know that he can not muster up the motivation and the desire to reach that level again. And then age doesn't allow you to reach that level. I watch now. Everybody knows Sequoia is my brother-in-law, right? Sequoia's I've watched Sequoia from 1 year old play football, but I watched his nephew and my son Don in the semifinals of the Friendship Trophy when Village played Don St. David's. I watched his nephew. I was watching Sadeo disrespect him, and I said to Corey, like, why didn't you not kick this guy off the field? Why did you let? But he was struggling to keep up with him. And Dannytown had played him at right back at that time, right? They had to switch things up, and Sequoia's brave enough. He's brave enough to say, okay, put me right back, and I'm going to deal with that case. And that I think that's why Carl Leipold's kept him around the national team as long as he did, even when he was aged, because he is a brave enough personality. But age is going to get us. And I'm like, Sadeo's down there talking smack to you, like, what? You didn't do nothing to him. You let him get away with that, And to be honest, he was probably helpless. Sadeo just speed over him. He had youth over him. He had those things, and I think Sequoia, he didn't do himself any harm by winning a trophy at Dannytown. But he's a PHC guy.
Yeah.
His a PHC, and his legacy was made at PHC. And then if you look at PHC, PHC made a hard decision. They let him go. And the same thing with Barcelona won't let Messi go, or will let players stay around just that much too long.
Yeah.
That much too long is a tricky little balance. It's like, how long do you let them stay around when you're trying to get the new breed coming through? So PHC allowed it to go, and look what happened to PHC. So, but Antoine can get it. That might be, that might be a low motivation, and Antoine can manage that, right? Antoine has fun managing those type of personalities.
Right.
He has fun managing that type of personality.
Let's talk about what Sergio Gutta does in the offseason. Hamilton Parish, first season up, finished 5th, 25 points. What does he need to do with that squad?
I think he just keeps going in the same direction, and maybe he can Sergio can go deep into a lot of players that he coached in the youth. Now that there is an establishment that they're in this league, if he could pick up 3 or so 4 players, defenders wide and a proper goal scorer. I shouldn't even say a proper goal scorer. We don't have one. Like we literally don't have one. Like But if he can pick up 4 players, I actually think that's another club that can be satisfied with what they've done, but also be disappointed that they didn't do more with the opportunity that was on the table for them. That's another club that I think could have snatched the trophy, and i.e. the Doug Leave trophy that they lost out to Somerset.
Right.
They could have snatched that. That could have been theirs to snatch. Somerset snatched that, and me and you, we had this conversation about, well, that's Somerset. Somerset snatched it from Cougars. Like that historical ancestor stuff is real. I don't care if people think it's not real. I think if people think that there are not football goats around somewhere,
Yeah.
there are football goats around somewhere that are sitting there, and that ancestral stuff is real.
Yeah.
You know? And Somerset got in the final, and they actually remembered Dale Somerset. They remembered Dale Somerset when they got in the final. They said, "Oh, okay, I remember I'm Somerset. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what I historically have done." And then they forgot Dale Somerset after the final.
Oh, okay. And I'm glad you said Somerset, because I know they must be glad the season's over.
Oh yeah, they're glad they got out of this one. Another club that I don't know where they go. Right? They seem to have a smooth transition. They planned well to have Jensen there as Morty's assistant, and it'll be interesting to know what he learned from Morty and what he can implement next year up there. You know, but I'm still convinced that Somerset lacked the quality of players now. You know, like when I look at Somerset historically, Stevie Riley used to sweep me.
Right.
You know, he used to sweep me. Chocolate, Rodney Bascom. And then, we already know about Dennis Brown. We're not going to say a whole lot about Dennis Brown. We know about Dennis Brown. We know about Jay Simmons. We know about Lou Simmons. We know about that, Goody, those type of players. Like, I don't see that player. I don't see Somerset have anywhere.
The players today don't have that passion that those guys had.
Yeah, I don't see that, man. Like I said, as Stevie Riley, we could talk about Stevie Riley didn't train. Okay, he didn't. He wasn't the most disciplined player, but put him on the field. Put him on the field and see what happens.
Different animal, baby. Different animal.
Yeah, okay. He didn't come training this week. Okay, all right, cool. Because we have this conversation in Bermuda about people don't train, but put Stevie Riley on the field after he didn't come training this week and see what happens. And Stevie Riley was a player, he would take 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I saw his heart no feelings enough times. He'll take 5 minutes. Just put him on the field. I don't see that anymore.
And the final coach, the final team, Crossroads, just missing out on a Dudley Eve spot if they go back to 6, because remember they went to 10 this season. But Ralphie, what does Ralphie do?
Well, Ralph is adamant that his staying at Crossroads and building something. Ralph is very professional with me all the time. He's not gonna give much away. I think I might know Ralphie better than him when it comes to winning. When it comes to being able to win, it'll surprise me. Maybe he feels deep down he can do something better with this team and get a trophy. Like that would be a big win. Like now that he has the measure of it, do
they hang on to Donovan Thompson?
He seems comfortable in that space, right? Every time we're saying that he's going to go somewhere, he doesn't go anywhere. He knows how to get his goals at that space. And he's one of those, what I call the selfish goal scorers. He likes, long as he's getting his goals, it's going to be all right.
Right.
No.
The other player that they hang on to is Shea Brainman. Does he go back to Devonshire Cougars?
Yeah, I don't see him hanging on to Shea because he doesn't come from there. They're going to have to recruit some players. Can Rolfie get his nephew? Is he capable of getting his nephew? In Smith. Jonte, is he capable? Can Rolfie influence players to come there? That's what's gonna aid him if he influences players to come there. But it's interesting that he will commit to that project again, and maybe he feels that's the challenge for him. I spoke to him very directly, and he knows I stir the pot. I put him out there with North Village. He knows I do that. And it's like it's always been that one in that voice. Take it easy, mate. You got to take it easy on people. And I have to remind him sometimes. I said, Rofi, remember when I was coaching you, scored 3 goals? What I talked about? I talked about the 3 you missed. I didn't talk. I didn't go talk about the 3 you scored with your mates.
Yeah.
I talked about the 3 that you missed. And that was just the motivation to keep pushing to another level, right?
Yeah. Well, we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the upcoming international match as well as those first division final matches of the weekend next weekend. We'll be right back.
It seems everyone knows someone who's lactose intolerant or just avoiding dairy products. Unfortunately, there's a growing array of delicious and nutritious alternatives. Pacific Natural Foods have been doing things their own way simply and sustainably for over a quarter century, making non-dairy beverages with the finest possible ingredients right down to the packaging. Try Pacific Natural Original and Vanilla Hemp Milk and Almond Original Plant-Based Beverage, all sweetened or unsweetened, and low-sodium organic vegetable or chicken broth. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for.
Putting down the weapons.
You seen this?
And welcome back. Maceo, on Saturday at the Philadelphia Southfield Stadium at the National Sports Center, 19th ranked, CONCACAF ranked, CFU ranked, 19th Guyana take on 21st ranked Bermuda in a match that will see Bermuda try to avenge that 2-1 loss they had to Guyana the last time the two teams played, or was it 3-2? I know we went down by a single goal, but what are you looking forward to on Saturday as far as the national team?
Well, I think what I would have liked to see that this match hyped up a little bit more with potential players that we have, because we potentially have some exciting players in Sincere Hall, Deniche Hill, some of these younger players. Also, the guy I'm hearing, and because I hate having to hear, versus having to know, but I'm also hearing Jai Pitt, that's been doing well at Duke, is coming. I know that there's potentially no Remy Cottington. There's potentially no Najai Tucker that's at Burnley. I would have liked to see the introduction of the new generation of players. This is what I would like to see, the introduction, holistically, the introduction of the new generation of players. I'm hearing that we've got access to Nicky Wells, that he should be putting on a Bermuda jersey again. And it would have been great to have all those players that are in that professional environment being sort of mentored around Nicky Wells and see what they could do for him. To see what those younger generation of players, if you put them in a team, can do for Nicky Wells. So that's what I'm hoping, that we are firmly into a transition of the new generation of players, and we're building on that, because we also, Bermuda is also entered into Bermuda's entered into the Small Island Games in July.
Mm.
The BFA have officially entered into the Small Island Games. And if you remember the last time that we was in the Small Island Games that when was hosted in Bermuda, we won that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that is I believe an under 23 tournament.
Yes.
So it's an under 23 tournament. So why not use this platform to prepare the players for that?
Mm.
You know, why not use this platform to be able to get players ready for that we can, because that is something we can win.
Right.
The Small Island Games is something actually we can win, and we can use the dynamics of this to prepare us for it.
Mm. Mm. Well, the good thing is we will be hosting a pregame and a postgame show on Saturday up at the National Sports Center. The pregame show will obviously we'll be able to release the teams, you know, have more updates as far as the lead up to the match, and then the postgame will have interviews with coaches, players, and the like, given the outcome of the match. So we'll be live from the National Sports Center on Saturday, both prior and following the international match. The times will be confirmed as we get closer, but more than likely we will be on probably at about 1:30, quarter to 2, in a lead up to the match that gets underway at 3 o'clock. So there you have it. Now, Maceo, let's look at our picks from this week, because next weekend is another barn burner. It's a title decider. So today, PHC Zebras and Boulevard Blazers, we all took PHC. We got a point. Dandytown Hornets and Hamilton Parish, we all, with the exception of you, Maceo, took Dandytown. You took Hamilton Parish. That ended in a draw. We all took St. George's Colts to defeat North Village, and we know that North Village won that 3-1. We all took Devonshire Cougars to defeat Robin Hood, and Devonshire Cougars did so 4-1. Everyone, with the exception of you, Maceo, took Somerset Trojans to defeat Crossroads. You took Crossroads. You get the point there. So in the end, I got 2. Punchy got 2. Coach Keita got 2. Maceo, you got 3. The scores overall, I'm on 131. Maceo, you're on 124. Punchy's 120. And Coach Keita is 119. Now, this one here will tell. This week coming up, title decider, first place second, at the Wellington Oval. Wolves face Paget.
Paget will be Wolves.
Okay. Well, to tell you the truth, the only chance, one of the biggest chances that Wolves have of going up is if they win this match. Because I know that they're not expecting Rangers to stop Social Club. So
Exactly.
if Wolves don't win, a draw is no good to them.
Draw is no good.
A draw is no good because right now, currently, they trail Paget by 1 point. But if they draw, right, Paget moved to 34, Wolves move to 33, and if Social Club win, they go on 33, but they already have a 5-goal advantage on Wolves.
So there's a serious thing. Paget need a win as well.
Paget, well, yes, Paget need to win as well.
Paget could lose and not get promoted.
That's only if the goal difference is more than 6, because right now they're on 33, but they've got a 6-goal difference over Social Club.
Okay.
So if they were to lose 1-0 and Social Club was to win 1-0 or 3-0, Paget will still go up because they'll have a far superior goal difference than.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the pressure is, well, pressure's on Paget as well, but pressure is mostly on Wolves. So you know what, Maceo? I'm taking Wolves.
You're gonna take Wolves. Well,
I'm
I
going
mean,
to take Wolves.
Wolves are gonna have the best player out there playing with them.
Oh, yes, without a doubt. One game, one shot deal.
Yeah,
It's all or nothing.
yeah. So
It's all or nothing. Yeah, so I'm going to take. Now, the next game is the one that we've just talked about. Obviously, Southampton Rangers and Social Club. I'm picking Social Club because they know the only chance they stand of going up, they have to win.
yeah, Social Club. Social Club definitely over Southampton Rangers.
Okay, you're taking Social Club as well. All right, back to you. This one should be easy. Island Rangers host St. David's.
Jesus. I don't know who's gonna win that. St. David.
But, I'm going to tell you now, right? I'm going to take St. David's only because there's cricket season will start in a month's time, right? So they're going to need something to get them over that period. So they're going to win this game and then start looking at cricket. So they could watch themselves of football and get ready for cricket. So I'm going to take St. David's as well. That game's at the Somerset Cricket Club. And then the final match, it's Devonshire Colts and BAA. I'm to tell you the truth, now that the pressure is off, I'm going to take BAA because I think they succumbed to the pressure of possibly getting promoted, and that young team kind of crashed yet again. They done it last year. At the last hurdle, the last game of the season, they played Boulevard and they didn't get it done. And when they did not win last week, it kind of ended their hopes of getting promoted. So now that pressure's off, they could play free again.
Yeah,
so I'm taking BAA.
I think for the same reason. I had an extensive conversation with a member of the BA organization after the show last week, and basically he validated what we talked about, where BAA are in their journey of football, and the journey of using football for the development of people's lives. You know, football is being used for the development of people's lives, and they know 8 players are going to go on to school next year, and quietly that level of in this first division is probably the level they can play at and compete properly at based on the age. Based on age, they can compete properly at that level. There was some disappointment in the old school players coming and saying, "We're just going to kick you."
Right.
Like, where is the guidance of we're gonna outplay you? Like I saw the show with the Bascom brothers last week, right? And Herbie talked about the match between Boulevard and North Phillies. I was part of the coaching staff up there that he did that to. You know, I was part of the North Phillies coaching staff, and what they did is teach us a lesson in football. They didn't kick us. You know, they actually taught us a lesson in football. The older players in Andrew, when Herbie took Andrew off the field, I said, "You're not doing this. What are you? Come on." You just we was up 1-0 in the game, up 1-0, comfortably winning, comfortably dominating the game. And we at that time had Daniel Jennings was controlled when Kenny had came and started to put the sweep in the front rather than in the back. That was something new introduced. So all our attack was going through Daniel Jennings that was stimulating our attack. And we didn't put the team away. We was up 1-0, but we was dominating Boulevard. And I heard the fans. The fans were taunting the Bascums. I'm like, you guys, you better behave, right? Because I always have respect for, and Herbie and his science. Go stand on Daniel Jennings. Put Andrew on there, do it on Daniel, and Payback, and everybody went, wow. It was end up 6-1. And then, for good measure, he takes Andrew off. So what he was saying, it's only going to take me 15 minutes to outsmart you guys. And this is, Kenny and Morty was the coach, and they came back to Holland, and they had the qualifications and all
Mm.
all those things, and Herbie outsmarted him in 15 minutes. And I could, because I come from Herbie, I know North Village. I saw that. I
Right.
saw what they did because we was crying. What we was doing from my North Village standpoint was saying, bring Daniel and take Irvin Romain and put him on Andrew and kick him.
Right.
The information was coming from people like me. Andrew's not gonna want to get kicked.
Right.
Let's eliminate Andrew. But Kenny and Morty, they was committed to their way of football.
Right. They wanted to play they wanted that team to play football.
They wanted that team to play football.
Yeah.
Right? But the point that I'm making, and to the BA piece, the older players are now just coming and kicking up the younger players rather than teaching them
Trying to
play.
intimidate. Yeah.
Yeah, rather than teaching them. Whereas Herbie and that generation, that Boulevard team at that time was aging, taught North Village a lesson in football. They taught Jamaica Jennings, they taught all those players that we felt we had at the time a lesson in football.
Well, next week, Maceo, we will pick our players of the week for the last 3 weeks, as well as the player of the month. So we'll have those players ready to go next week. So we look forward to our pregame and postgame show on Saturday, and then we'll be back on Sunday evening with the First Division football show, and we'll have whoever wins the league. It's going to be interesting because one game is at Wellington Oval, and possibly Social Club could win the league at Southampton Oval. Anything's possible.
All right, mate.
Okay, folks, enjoy your night. Thanks, Mace.